It is time to token max appears to be the latest motto in the tech industry. We heard a few months back about Uber apparently blowing up its entire 2026 AI budget in just 4 months. Executives at Silicon Valley companies and leading startups have been very vocal about how much AI is being used to enhance and write their code. Some have gone to the extent of rewarding employees who outperformed everyone else in terms of maximizing their AI token consumption. A case in point being Meta, which apparently developed an internal leaderboard that ranked all its engineers in terms of how much AI tokens they consumed, regardless of what those tokens were used for. This trend has become so prevalent in the tech industry that it has a very specific name now, Tokenmaxxing. Tokenmaxxing refers to the art or science of maximizing your AI token spend as much as humanly possible, and then treating the size of your AI bill as the ultimate achievement. Which may sound insane at first, but that is exactly what the current AI ecosystem is designed to reward. Hi, my name is Himanshu. In this video, I'm breaking down why token maxing has taken over Silicon Valley and why AI might be one of the few technologies in history which everyone is incentivized to waste. Let's dive in. The principle which explains why token maxing happens is pretty simple. To understand it, let's take the example of when you hire someone to work for you on an hourly basis. Let's say a contractor for construction or cleaning or painting. When you do this, there is always a voice in the back of your head that asks you, is this person actually working as productively as possible, or are they just riding out the clock? Because every extra minute that they spend on the job is money that goes into their pockets. Setups like this have the potential to sometimes reward the wrong thing. Economists have a fancy term for this called the principal agent problem, which refers to instances where the person doing the job doesn't have all their incentives aligned with the person paying for it. And it is that exact dynamic that appears to be loose in Silicon Valley right now, except the contractors here have trillion-dollar valuations. To understand why something as absurd as glorifying the amount you're spending on AI bills, let's try to dig deeper into what the motivations are for each player in the AI ecosystem. Let's start with the vendors of AI, the frontier labs that are powering the tools and infrastructure which are running the AI economy. Now, at the surface, they might appear a lot like SaaS companies that used to operate in the pre-AI world. But in terms of their economic motivations, they absolutely could not be more different than them. In traditional SaaS, the business model emphasized on per-seat pricing, which meant mostly capped but highly predictable revenue with the occasional API surcharges. On top of it, traditional SaaS products were not as versatile as AI. They were used to solve very specific, measurable, and visible problems. But that is not at all the case with AI. The problem sets that it is applied to are far broader, much harder to measure, and even more harder to attribute value to. And most importantly, AI products are not bounded by a subscription fee. You are also paying for tokens that you are consuming, which makes AI somewhat similar to utilities like water or electricity, where each additional unit consumed turns into additional revenue that the labs generate. Basically, which means that they do not have 100% of their interests aligned with making sure that you are using AI as efficiently as possible for you. A lot of this also fuels the narrative that some of these AI firms are propagating across the industry. It's not AI that's going to replace you, but it's someone who's using AI that well. Next up, management teams. Management teams across the industries have immense pressure not to just appear AI forward, but also point to how AI forward they are compared to others. Because investors are currently rewarding that over almost anything. But here's the issue. With old SaaS-based software, you could actually point to a very specific problem that the tool was solving for you. You could point to an exact result that the tool was helping you achieve. That has much harder to do with AI, just because it is being sold as this magic wand that can solve everything for you and completely change the way you operate as a company. Now, I'm not discounting how AI is changing a lot of ways in which companies are operating and how people and systems are doing things. But on the other side, there is also a lot of instances where a lot of management teams and leadership teams at many companies do not have a concrete win to point to from AI yet. A lot of companies, for example, are actually not seeing the returns from AI that they anticipated about 2 or 3 years back in terms of the investments that they put in. So they started pointing to the only number that they can actually prove exists: usage. Because it's a lot easier to go on stage and tell your investors that your engineers burned 60 trillion tokens on AI than trying to explain what those tokens were even used for. Finally, let's talk about the employees and the actual workers who are using the AI tools on a day-to-day basis. This is the category of people that I feel a little bad for, because while there is genuine interest in learning new skills and adopting new tools, There is also a lot of fear with which they are operating. AI adoption had already fueled a lot of fears around potential job losses and them being out of work in a few years. While those concerns have not materialized to the extent that people had anticipated, a lot of employees are still being driven by narratives like you need to be good at AI or you'll be replaced by someone who's better than you at AI. That has changed the math for employees. The scariest thing now isn't that AI itself is going to replace you. In fact, it is being that one person in the company who apparently is not as AI fluent as you need to be. But with the current situation where it's so hard to actually prove what's the value that you're bringing from AI, how do you actually prove you're good at AI? You turn to the one thing that is in your control and holds very low consequences for you, and at the same time elevating your position as an AI forward person. You maximize and burn as much tokens as possible. And that's how the world invented one of the most powerful technologies in human history. And weird incentives immediately turned it into a contest about who wastes it the best. And seems like there are a lot of winners already. The next time you have the feeling of if you are falling behind on AI, it is a feature in someone's business model. There's a frontier AI lab out there that needs you to feel exactly that way, and an entire machinery downstream of that relies on you panic maximizing your token consumption. Thank you for watching this so far. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel.